As you can tell from the boxes behind me, I am packed for a move. The game shelves in front of me are almost completely empty. The rest of the house, almost packed. But of course, 95% packed means 5% left to freak out over in the next 2 days until the movers arrive and things have to be out the door. So, exciting times. This will be my last video from this house. All the giant games on the wall behind me, packed up, ready to go. Moving to a place where I have a separate game room and a separate recording studio. So I'm excited to be able to have my equipment up regularly, record more regularly, not having to take down and put up everything, and get better permanent setups for just settings and equipment and everything in order to be a little more professional as I'm recording these video overviews for you. So I'm excited to go. You won't see any tears from me except as a result of playing Heul, Doch, a game for 3 to 6 players by Leo Colavini, published by Ravensburger in early 2019. I've played this game about a dozen times on a review copy from Ravensburger, only with 3 and 4 players, not with 5 and 6 yet. I don't really even know if I'm missing out by not doing that. Let me explain why. Here are the components for Heul, Doch. We have a deck of 98 number cards. Cards come in 7 colors, and they're numbered 1 to 7 in each color, with each number color combination appearing twice. So there's 2 yellow 4s, 2 brown 1s, and so on. You have 12 special cards that you can set aside and possibly never use again. The game comes with a tissue as well. You do have onions aplenty. So each player is going to start with a hand of 4 cards that is secret, and everyone starts with 1 card face up in front of them, and this is their starting score. The guy to my left is winning with 7 points. I have only 4. My neighbor has 3. But you're going to play through the entire deck, and at the end of the game you're going to count all the cards in your pile and score those points. So you want to put high number cards in your pile, and hopefully you'll end up with more points than everyone else. How do you get those cards in your pile, though? The clue to how to play comes in the name, Heul, Doch, Mau Mau. Mau Mau is the German equivalent to Crazy 8, where you are playing cards from your hand that matches the color or number of a card that's already in play. You will know most of how to play this game as soon as you open the box. On a turn, I'm going to play one of the cards in my hand onto either my pile or my neighbor's piles to my left and right. So with a 4-player game, if someone had a card across here, I can ignore them because I cannot play on them at all. We'll go back to 3 players. I can play on my own pile if I match the color or number. So I can play a red 6 on top of this red 4. That works. 6 more points for me. I can play a 4 on top of a 4, except for a rule that says if a card actually matches the color or number of my left or right hand neighbor, then I can't play it on my own pile, and I would instead have to play it on that neighbor's pile. I just have to give them 4 points. I don't want to do that. You can choose to play a card on a neighbor's pile. So this brown 1 in my hand, I could drop over here on top of my neighbor so that they can't follow up this brown 7 with another 7 in their hand. Now they can only match brown or 1. So I'm giving a point away, but hopefully I'm stifling what they want to do, albeit without knowing what cards they have in their hand. I can't do anything with this 5 because I have neither a 5 nor purple, and neither do my neighbors. So I'd likely play the 6, draw a card, and move on to my next turn. If no one plays a dark blue, I can drop a dark blue on my hand. If I cannot play or choose not to play, in this case I could play a 1 on this neighbor, I could play a 4 on this one, but I have no 6 for dark blue in my hand, so I can't play anything on top of my own pile. What you can choose to do is take a card from your hand and put it face down on your pile. And on your next turn, you will be able to play anything you want on top of that pile, again, as long as it doesn't match your neighbors, because then they have priority. So I can't play these 2 brown cards, but I could play either of these 5s, and then hopefully my 5 will stay untouched, and then I can follow that up with a 5, and then possibly a 1, and maybe they're out of brown by now, and I'll be able to keep playing on top of my pile. And that's it for the gameplay. You are going to play through the entire deck until all the cards have been played from all players' hands, and then you'll score points. there's almost nothing to the game. You're either going to play cards into your pile or your neighbor's pile, or you put them face down in your pile, which will give you a little reset for next time. The neighbors can't play on top of that, and then you can play whatever you want, again, as long as it doesn't match your neighbors. There's not much to it, right? Except for the little twist that comes in, where at the end of the game, you count up how many face-down cards you have in your pile. Let's say I have 5 face-down cards in my pile for the 5 times that I reset. Then I must go through my pile of cards, and I must throw away all the 5s in there. That's it. I scored nothing for them. I wasted them. If I have 7 face-down cards, I throw out all my 7s. If I have 10 face-down cards, I must throw out all my 7s, and then I throw out all my 3s. So 7 and 3 adds up to 10. So however many face-down cards you put in that pile, that's what's going to kick you in the butt later. And maybe it's going to hurt you, and maybe it's not. If you never collected a 6, you might actually try to get 6 face-down cards, because it won't hurt you at all when it comes time to count your score. You may or may not be paying attention to that. And of course, you don't have control over everything that you're going to do. You may have cards that you want to play, and suddenly they are rendered unplayable because your neighbors play something and now they would suck those cards out of your hand, or they play on top of you and now you have nowhere to go. You get down to the end of the game where you only have 2 or 3 cards in your hand. That last card, is it going to match or is it not? Can you dump it on someone else, or are you going to have to eat it? Heul Doch is a very light game. There's minimal planning in anything that you're doing because you have only 4 cards in your hand. You must play a card every turn. You get a new card. The neighbors are doing things. And of course, in a game with more than 3 players, their neighbors are doing things as well. And so you've got some, fussing back and forth and fighting for space. Maybe you want to put a card face down so that you can play all these 7s out of your hand. But of course, if one of your neighbors plays a 7 first, you got to play something else, or you have to give those cards away. Is it beneficial to give them 7 points as opposed to taking 3? Can you stiff them and push them out of the arena? I'm going to play a 2 on you before I play my 7s, and hopefully you're done. So now I can claim 7s for myself. Get that ground, and then you would have to feed me. There's not much to the game in the rules. It's all about the feel of gameplay. A little griefer aspect where, of course, you're trying to gift people with cards that do not help them at all, even though you are giving them points. But it's not what they wanted to do. And so you get a little joy out of doing that. It's take that without direct take that. It's nice as you're giving people cards and yet hurting them. It's a very interesting, simple gameplay without much rules to it. There are bonus cards, as I mentioned, and you can play with those if you wish. You don't have to. There's 3 of each. There's 4 different types. One of the bonus cards is a werewolf, and so when you play that, all the players in the game have to turn their top card in their deck the other way around. So if it was face down, now they have a number. If it was face up, now they've got a face down one, even though they probably didn't want one. There's a card that will swap 2 top cards. There's one where whichever players have the highest numbers, they have to throw those away. Or there's a carousel one where all the cards shift left or right 1 space. I've used the bonus cards once. They're fine. I appreciate the purity of just the numbers. Nothing's going to mess with that. I'm going to plan for things. My cat's doing something. I don't know what's going on over there. Packing mysteries. The cat's going to end up in a box. We'll see her a couple days later. The game is super straightforward and simple. There's not much to it, and yet I have found such joy in playing this game. Playing it a dozen times now, and I don't know why. There's not much to it, and it gets me puzzling about why I like to play games. Why is this experience enjoyable? And it sort of goes back to the whole nature of games where you are putting yourself in a situation where you don't have control over what's going to happen. You are placing yourself into an environment with fake rules or rules specific for this world that you're in, and then complications are going to occur, and you have to fight them off. And this game has a lot of unpredictability to it, so you can't plan well. It's just things falling on you left and right, but then you get to push back, and sometimes things work out perfectly. And it's these little moments of tension and joy where you try to see whether you can do what you want to do or cause a little uncomfortableness to others. These fun little ride, I guess I would say. And again, not much to it, and yet I keep coming back to it. So I'm not sure what to say. I'm interested in exploring, seeing more, maybe trying 5 or 6. Does it share the pain? Is it more enjoyable to watch what's going on around the table, or do I just handle fewer cards because they're distributed among more players, and so there's less for me to enjoy? I want to do my part in causing suffering to others, which is why there is a tissue in the box, which is the most ludicrous item included in a game that I've seen in a little while, but it is so much fun when you are playing the game and someone starts complaining. I play a card on someone that, what and then it's just sort of stew for a second, and you have the tissue just sitting there by the box that you sort of mentioned at the beginning of the game, and no one paid attention to it, and then you just push it across the table to them. Dry your tears. I'm so sorry. It's just a little extra moment of joy, and it was a brilliant idea to put this in the box for a game about onions. Makes no sense otherwise. I don't know why you would care, and yet it comes together with this beautiful Schadenfreude experience in the box that plays quickly and can be taught in a minute. Heul, Doch.